Let's go! Today we are breaking down college football's most unstoppable play.
Let's go, baby. Have a day. Let's go.
We'll see 5 of college football's most accomplished play callers all run a different variation of this fake screen slip. And the idea of it is you send one receiver vertical, you have someone fake block as if it's a quick little screen to the right, and the guy who is fake blocking then leaks down the field. All right? I'm going to give you some different names for this plays from different systems of terminology. As you can see, this wasn't even that great of a fake. The cloud corner right here didn't even bite down on it. But just this little pause right here from Anais Smith does enough right here. He has inside leverage. He's flat-footed. This vertical is taking out this deep third defender right here. And now he has a step on him. And as you'll see, this corner is put in conflict. Do I stay with the flat defender or do I actually run with the guy who was fake blocking me? And even though he makes the right decision, it is a second too late. And now one of college football's best receivers has it, and you'll see Hudson Clark do something rare, which is make an open field tackle. So Bobby Petrino is now the OC at Arkansas, and he probably saw this from the BYU game earlier in the year. Normally, the guy who's doing the fake block and then leaking down the field is a tight end. That was actually a wide receiver, which makes it that much more deadly. And you'll see it here. The fake little run out here, and then you just slip. Both defenders actually bite to the screen right here. QB does a good enough job buying enough time to get the tight end out there, and he leads them perfectly for an explosive play. Okay? And you can also run this without having the blocker actually block. So here's a tight end right here, Oscar Delp. You motion in a receiver, love it right here. And you see, this is a defensive end guarding the flats right here. This is a really good play call. All right? This is one of the best pass rushers in the SEC. He's now at Ole Miss Princely. He doesn't rush. I don't know if this is a read for Delp. If he was rushing, Delp blocks him for a little bit and then releases. But either way, this is just another good way of doing it. Wide receiver takes out the vertical, tight end goes upfield, and now you have the receiver in the flat. So if for some reason Princely ran with Oscar Delp, you could still throw it if you like it, or you could throw it in the flat to a wide open player. And guess what? You decide to throw it because, well, he's past Princely. That's where you should throw it. And Carson Beck throws a pretty good ball. Not a great ball. You want to hit him in stride because who knows? He can catch it, cut back inside, gain more yards, but it's still a nice explosive gain. All right, so we get to my favorite SEC play caller, which is Josh Heupel. For some reason, I still see coaching lists that have him behind Mark Stoops and some other guys that he's beaten down consistently, and it's because his offense makes life so easy on his quarterbacks. And I actually reached out to someone that really knows Heupel's offense on the breakdown of this one, because there were some people that were upset that Tennessee was deciding to run something like this up 28-0, but this is actually an RPO. A run-pass option is basically a play where the quarterback has the opportunity to either run the football or throw it based on the alignment. And this is actually someone that's very familiar with Josh Heupel's system. He has coached at really high levels. I'll just leave it at that. And he said based on the alignment of this Iowa defense, they decided, or Nico decided to throw the football. So 28-0 versus a Brian Ferentz Iowa offense is a bigger lead than what Georgia did to Florida State. So I get why some people weren't happy that Tennessee was throwing the football, but Nico read this correctly. So based on what that text message a lot of you saw from a coach, Nico saw this as a 2v3 opportunity because they were in too high and the safety was shaded over here enough. So he knew by the 3x2, one of these guys was going to be open. So yes, in theory, if Nico hands this football off, this could be a big gain here or a big gain here. But you see both of these linebackers had these holes filled. Pause. This is a good read by Nico, though, because he is right. He ended up getting 2v3. The vertical here took out the deep third, and then the guy guarding the flats went to the to the screen to the receiver, and Nico read this perfectly. You fake block right here. This was a very heavy step down to Nimrod right here in the flat. So Nico knows that this is going to be wide the frick open. Okay? Once again, red zone play into the boundary where it's more difficult to throw and score. All the other plays were run to the boundary, which is the short side of the field. This one is run to the wide side of the field, a.k.a. the field, okay? And this is also an overloaded formation, so the tight end's not eligible to go out. You have, a 4-by-0 formation, if you will, and it's just the same thing, right? They scored with a tight end slip with fair weather earlier, so the defense is keying in on him, and instead of it being, a tight end receiver just blocks like he's just, or faking like he's blocking and then just releasing, right? It works every single time. I've seen people really, really struggle to defend this.
Appreciate you for helping getting me fired.
Well, Kiffin might hate me worse than Feinbaum because I'm about to release his secret play, which is basically the same exact thing that you've been seeing. But I want you to see how creative Lane gets with addressing this up. And if you're a tight end like Caden Prescorn, who's not some type of freak athlete, but wants to get really good things schemed up for you, this is the offense you want to play in, okay? What's very interesting about this play, I know it gets cut off here with the snap, is this actually ends up getting defended really well right here by Auburn. So play action fake, corner gets a pretty decent jam, and what you'll see here is normally for this play to really work, you want this guy really attacking downfield to the bubble because that just opens up that much more space here. But the backer actually ends up getting pretty even with Prescorn, and you see him get a little unbalanced. He's like, okay, he's releasing, so now I do have to run with him. So this is a really good job right here by Auburn game planning this because Ole Miss doesn't want to throw this. They want to throw this. Now, ironically, on this play, this vertical right here is actually open for a touchdown because Simpson, the safety, leaves his spot of the field unoccupied. Once again, this is a very good play to run versus two high looks. And you'll see that Dart is actually looking in this direction. This is open. This is open, but you're never really going to throw this. Normally the safety is capping this off. You want to throw this one. This is where it's actually going more often than not. And you'll see, instead of throwing the open vertical, he throws to where the ball is intended to go. Now, something else that's very interesting is the backer here, I think it's Asante is his name. He actually does a good job readjusting, getting upfield, getting into Prescorn. And watch this ball location by Jackson Dart. Even when you defend this somewhat well, it's still nearly impossible to stop if you have a perfect throw and a really, really good tight end. So even if you defend the play well, it still has a really good shot of getting completed. So I want to shout out our friends at No Offseason and NoOffSeason.com. They are our biggest supporters here on Power Hour SEC. I found this to be interesting. The rookie cards of Carson Beck, his autos are 3 times as much as Jackson Dart's, and that's what we do here on NoOffSeason.com. Find these discrepancies. I do think Carson Beck is better than Dart, but 3 times as much. Obviously, there's a lot of other factors that go into it, so hit me up in the comment section below if you want a consultation for me as a part of the NoOffSeason.com team, okay? I am big into football cards, particularly at the college level. So you see basically the same play. I'm going to give you an in-zone view of how well this play actually works. And this is a great Kirby Smart Georgia Bulldogs defense. This has been probably the most open completion we have seen up to this point in the video. You'll notice this is very different than the other ones, right? You're actually motioning Prescorn here. There's no quick bubble to the right side to occupy the flat. We actually just have a vertical here and a vertical here, and he's picking on number 5 right here in the flat. This is really good stuff by by Lane, he loves running this play into the boundary. You'll see in just a second he actually likes to include a quick fake pitch to the right. And the one thing I really like about Lane is he runs a lot of plays that work even if your offensive line isn't really that good, which Ole Miss's was decent last year, okay? All these different fakes, you notice it just keeps the defense on their heels. And you notice this Georgia pass rush, which is really good, isn't really able to get anything going. Now, 5 is put into conflict here. You see the vertical is picked up by 24. The outside vertical is picked up by the corner. And 5 is deciding, hey, do I need to pick up this running back in the flats or do I need to carry with this tight end? He makes the wrong decision. Well, it honestly comes down to the coverage rules in Schumann's and Kirby's defense. So he lets Prieskorn go. And let's just say 5, ran down here or actually ran with Prieskorn. You can hit this into the flats for a nice 6-7 yard gain. But what you want is Prieskorn being left alone open down the sideline. And this time, you do get a fake pitch into the boundary. So they are flooding this side of the field. It always helps having a dude in Trey Harris. So Trey Harris, man-to-man and press, you have to have a safety over the top to help in all this space. So what does Lane decide to do? Well, he's going to get a 4-on-3 out here and just flood it with a bunch of different eye candy. And what I love about this fake pitch is they're actually running a little stop to help increase the traffic for Prieskorn to come around here. And then, of course, his vertical takes these two guys out. And this flat on the fake pitch occupies, the flat defender here. So you get a stop route right here. You notice 9 doesn't even run a route, right? Tennessee does a lot of this where the receiver that's not intended, they just tell them to stop to conserve their energy. And 19, Wade, who's a good player, takes the corner and the safety out. 83 helps disguise Prieskorn coming on this little delay. So instead of Prieskorn blocking and releasing, you're getting 83 here, setting a little screen for Prieskorn to run around. And once again, all 3 of the defenders go to the flat here. And Prieskorn is just running wide, and I mean wide the frick open. Once again, not the cleanest protection, but whether it's Penn State, Manny Diaz, coach defense, or Kirby Smart, they can't stop the play. And that's what makes this very interesting. This little delay with the second receiver of the progression, not the vertical, not the flat, that second guy that's just leaking upfield, no one's been able to figure it out. We've seen good quarterbacks complete it. We've seen not so great quarterbacks complete it. We've seen it work against good defenses, bad defenses, into the boundary, into the field, in the red zone, not in the red zone. It's just that good of a play, and if it's not a part of your playbook, you are missing out.